employee, yeah.
It's as long as we don't have to pay his CalPERS.
That's right.
Now, Walt, don't report this to our board, Walt. Don't report it.
What, that you went over to the dark side?
Yes.
Oh,
No, those days are gone, Ron.
he's trying to clean up his image. He came over here for the day.
Yeah. He's got a big job to do, Destin.
Yeah. 8 o'clock. It looks like we have everybody here today too. Is Michelle? Yeah, she's there.
Yeah, I don't have her on video, but I can see that she's there.
Yeah, I think trying to do the video and the YouTube and Granicus and everything, she just turns her camera off.
Okay, all right. Well, in that case, since we do have everyone here, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Bishop Area Wastewater Authority on this July 20th, 2021, and the time is 8 o'clock a.m. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of the Allegiance. Karen, would you please lead us in the pledge, and the rest of us can stand and face the nearest flag?
But you can't see it behind the screen.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Karen.
So easy when you're going reading, huh?
Michelle, would you please take the roll, please?
Chairman Stone,
Present.
Chairman Schwartz,
Present.
Vice Chairman Mahovey,
I'm here.
Chairman Pachuki.
Here, present. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Next item on our agenda is public comment, and this is a time set aside for the public to make comments that are not necessarily included on the agenda. Michelle, do we have any written comments that have been submitted?
Michelle, you're muted.
No comments have been submitted.
Thank you, Michelle. And from what I see on the screen, there are no members of the public present on this Zoom conference session. Absent comments, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, and that's the consent calendar. And all matters under the consent calendar are considered routine by the authority and will be acted on by one motion. That being the case, under the consent calendar, we have 3 items: Board of Directors of Bishop Area Wastewater Authority, the meeting minutes from April 20th, 2021, also the special meeting minutes from June 24th, 2021. And item number 3 would be the NRCS agreement. And I want to do this correctly. Michelle coached me on how to do these consent calendars. If they're, does anyone have any comments regarding any of the comments or corrections regarding any of the particular specific items under the consent calendar?
None for me. I'm just really happy to see that. I'm just really happy to see that we got the agreement with NRCS. So good job on that. And seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I just mostly wanted everyone to be able to get your eyes on that and see there's all the terms to the agreement and what we need to fulfill our obligations. And I just want everybody to read it before I sign it and send it off. And that'll happen as soon as we're done, if nobody has any objection to anything in that.
Okay, thanks for the clarification on that. I have one item with regard to the meeting minutes from April 20th. And this would be on page 3. It's essentially, I guess you'd call it a typo or whatever. Page 3, paragraph 3, there's a sentence that reads, Pachuki mentioned that it is his understanding to avoid the land going foul for a year, the use of the land will be extended. The term foul should be replaced by the term fallow, F-A-L-L-O-W. I suppose the land could go foul some way, but
Let's hope not.
That wasn't the intent. If those are the comments, do we have a motion to approve the consent?
I'll make a motion
calendar?
to accept the consent calendar with the modification.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion from Director Mutovi and a second from Director Stone. Michelle, would you please poll the board?
Michelle?
She's not.
Have we got you, Michelle?
I can go next door.
I'll check on her.
She's still there. She's not muted. That's weird.
Yeah.
Ever since she started, that recording thing came up. It's
Yeah.
Good
seems
point.
like maybe we lost her on that. She didn't want to be recorded.
That's right.
Ron, are you close enough to her office there?
I
where you
could go there.
I think Ron Phillips is walking up there right now. He's real close.
Is he? Okay.
I believe that's what he just said. He would go check on.
Mhm.
You may have to have her in here as well. There she is.
There she is. She's a
Hello. Don't know what's going on with my computer, and Ron says at least you guys didn't hear it repeating over and over and over again. So I had
No.
everything talking about 10 times on mine. But at least you guys didn't, so that's good. Okay, so I heard Stephen made
Motion. And
to
Mr.
approve the
Stone
consent
seconded.
calendar. So Mahovy,
Yes.
Stone,
I,
Schwartz,
Yes.
Pachuki,
Yes.
motion approved for the consent calendar of the 3 items listed.
Thank you, Michelle. Moving on to agenda item number 6, new business. We have 4 items. The authorized administrator to meet with the Bishop Paiute tribe. Number 1. 2 would be authorized administrator to sign proposal for appraisal service. Number 3, approved proposal for Loomis and Associates. And 4, election of officers. Destin, would you please take the lead on the first 3 of those items and brief the board, and we'll go from there.
All right. Good morning, board. So especially the district is familiar with this. The Bishop Paiute tribe's a major contributor to flow at the Eastern Sierra Community Service Plant. In the past, when we discussed ways and opportunities to increase capacity, the tribe was a at least if I remember correctly, a willing partner in financial support towards a new plant. It seems now with the trunk line going to be built this winter, hopefully, and then our improved irrigation system, we could re-look at the tribe as maybe a financial partner in the irrigation system. You know, at least go out and talk to them and see if they're willing to be a financial partner in this project, because I see the benefits to them. And the reason I want to bring this up is I know I could go talk to them, but they are the district's customer. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was all right if I was to contact Peter Bernascoti and at least start the discussions with the tribe at this time. And I'd be more than happy to do it with Walt and Ron, however you guys want to do it. But I'd like to take the opportunity to see what they may be able to offer as well.
Just a response from me, Destin. I can't speak on behalf of the entire board from the district, but I believe that the board would support doing exactly what you're suggesting, and not only support, but appreciate that effort. And you're correct. The tribe has been willing to participate financially in some of these major efforts. That said, from me, Ron Stone, what's your response to that?
I would concur, Walt. I think it's a good opportunity, and it's a good neighbor policy.
Absolutely. And Destin, I personally don't see the necessity to include a district board member when you go talk to Peter. I know Peter, I know you, we know all the players. So if after talking to Peter, you feel the need for district board involvement, we're here for you, but initially go for it.
I concur.
Same. I think it's unanimous.
Yep. Yeah. I figured it would be, but I just didn't want to, I wanted to keep everybody apprised of what I was thinking.
Okay.
So do we actually have to make an action on this, or do you have direction? What would you?
Personally, I wouldn't think we would need action. I think just give direction to Destin to proceed as he outlined, if everybody's comfortable with that.
Indeed.
Okay, well then I have direction and I will start making those calls right away.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I know it'll take a little bit of time to get through that if they are willing.
Yep.
All right, so next item would be, we talked about it in our last meeting, was the appraisal services. And Cheryl Breton is the appraiser that City of LA has worked, and the City of Bishop and numerous government agencies have worked successfully with acquiring land from LADWP, whether it be land in, what am I trying to think here? That we actually own, or whether it just be an easement. A third-party appraisal is a mandatory part of the process of acquiring land from DWP. I spoke with Cheryl on the phone briefly on Friday. I wanted to get a high and a low number for her. That number was somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000, depending on what I think it should be, come out towards the lower end, just for the fact that the deed restrictions, there won't be a lot to this appraisal. She can literally go out there and drive the roads and see it all in 5 minutes, and then just start working through the process with water and power. I was going to save it for my staff report, but I'll bring it up now. DWP has a map already ready for her to look at. The final survey is almost complete. They'll go through and then they'll have a final survey and a track map done for this 400 plus acres over there. So they feel strongly that before our next meeting, they'll be ready for us to start that appraisal. So I wanted to bring this to you before then, so that we didn't have to try to call special meeting and everybody, you know how those go. So at this time, I would recommend that the board authorize the administrator to sign an agreement with Cheryl Breton for appraisal services not to exceed $10,000.
I would move Move that we authorize Mr. Deshawn to proceed and execute the necessary documents for that appraisal.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Michelle, would you please poll the board?
Do we have any public comment?
Oh,
Uh,
none.
There's no public comment.
Okay.
Good
Thank
point,
you.
thanks. Michelle?
Board Member Stone,
Yes,
Board Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Mahovey,
Yes.
Chairman Pachuki.
Yes.
Motion approved to authorize Administrator Destin Deshawn to send a proposal for the appraisal services.
Thank you. Destin, there is a comment that I neglected to put in prior to the vote, and I don't think it will influence the outcome at all, but just a comment. These things are likely common sense, and you would do these with the appraiser, but I think a couple points to be made dramatically is the nature of the use of the land for disposal of treated effluent, and the fact that the lands have been used over time. You and I have discussed this. That would seem to impact the value. So the other portion would be the value of the grazing lands, particularly on the south end of what we're looking at, Giacomini's portions. Those are not prime grazing areas, as you know. So as far as an appraised value, I would hope that the appraiser wouldn't just blanket the whole area and give it one kind of value criteria. I would hope the appraiser would take into account some of those factors.
And that is as soon as we get started with the process, we will sit down with DWP and go through all those parameters before she starts. And that's something that's unusual for an appraiser to do. That's why working with DWP is a little different. And so finding somebody that has, and because they're going to lay out ground rules, we're going to lay out, the value of the current 165 that's already been discharged on. They'll each have, in a sense, I guess I was being vague, but looking at the property, it's not like we're looking at it for development. So it's, once she gets out there and sees the south and the north side of Cashbaugh Road, it'll pretty much tell the story.
Good. Thank you, Destin. And I expected that. I just wanted to emphasize the importance of looking at those factors.
Yeah, somewhere between $1 and $2 an acre.
We'll go for that. All right, moving on, Destin.
All right, and then lastly would be approve the proposal from Lumos and Associates to prepare the revised report of waste discharge. With the formation of the BAWA, the State Water Quality Control Board has requested that the BAWA complete a Title 22 report first. And now they're asking for a permit application for a revised report of waste discharge and an administrator of reclaimed water. It's a little, Jonathan and I have been working with JCAS to try to kind of get a better assessment of what, because it's not just an application that you fill in the boxes. It's very up to the board, the Lahontan's board, JCAS especially, what he wants to see for this permit. So, there's a groundwater modeling, there's this, there's that. And Jay has been able to, at this point, accept a little less than a full-blown groundwater model of the entire area. He hasn't requested additional wells to be assessed for this, monitor wells. So it took a little while for Jonathan to put the scope together, but I think we fully have it under control now. There may be some small amendments that may need to come to this scope as the process goes through. That's why, if I remind you, they gave us a preliminary number of up to 50,000. This proposal is 33,000. So that's in hopes that and I think we're going to be fine. I don't think it'll require any more, but at this time, that's unknown until he actually signs off on the permit. Another plus to this is, and Walt probably remembers, we were given a letter from Lahontan. I have it in front of, or at least the city's copy, on October of 2020, that they wanted to also revise each plant's waste discharge permit. Jonathan is going to take this all under this item, and we'll meet all three of those, the district, the cities, and the BAWA's requirements of that letter. So that was a plus. Each of us will be taken care of when this is over. I guess the cost of the proposal is $33,000. It's in our approved fiscal 2021-22 year budget. And at this time, I'd recommend that the BAWA board approve the proposal from Lumos and Associates in the amount of $33,000.
Justin, question. With regard to the revised WDR, excuse me, was that one of the parts of the process that we couldn't do too soon because DWP would not transfer? I mean, didn't DWP have a concern about a new WDR on those lands?
Absolutely. And I think that we're just going to start the process. JCash, feels strongly that he doesn't need they're just saying we can do it. They're not saying in his mind that they're giving us permission to spread the land. They're not, DWP doesn't have to let us do it, but the state will authorize this to do it. And I told Jay that this is, something we'll get started on, but another elephant in the room is, and Jay can't even answer the question yet, is does our CEQA process for the irrigation project, which is involved in this new reclamation permit, does that need to be complete before they can issue a new permit? So we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of getting close to a year before this will be complete. But in light of Lahontan, I get numerous emails and phone calls. When are you going to get this done? So we're at least going to get started with this. It's inevitable where we're going, but if we don't start, I think this will get and show good faith to Lahontan that we are moving forward with everything as planned.
I see your strategy. Wise. Thank you.
And Dustin, can I ask a question? With regards to the assumptions and exceptions that are on this contract, in particular, I mean, you mentioned modeling of groundwater, which is not included in this. Like, how much of that do we actually expect to be needed? And do you have a sense of like how much this contract would go up if we're required to do some of those?
I expect if he had to do a full scale model that would push us up towards $45,000. And Jonathan expected that. That's why he really tried to get us out of it. It was around 10,000 approximately to do that.
I see.
He and I and Jay agreed that we have adequate information on the groundwater that's down there. Where there is no discharge, we know it's there. It's not contaminated. It just sounds like, and the district did a groundwater model a number of years ago, proved of the mounding of the wastewater underneath that's isolated to just the discharge area. So I feel pretty comfortable that we're not going to need to do that.
Okay, cool.
It's been done many times.
Further questions or comments for Destin, or do we have can we give Destin direction?
I'll move that we approve the proposal from Lumos and Associated in the amount of $33,000.
With the motion,
A second.
we have a second. Michelle, would you please poll the board?
Do we have
Vice
any-
Chairman Mahovey,
Yes.
Chairman Stone,
Yes.
or sorry, Board Member Stone, Board Member
Yeah.
Schwartz,
Yes.
and Chairman Pachuki.
Yes.
Motion approved for the proposal for Lumos and Associates.
All right, thank you. And Destin, thank you for the work you've put in with Jonathan and Jay. I know there's a lot of back and forth, and to have accomplished a reasonable path forward with Jay Cass, given alternatives, I think you did well, so thank you.
Yeah, he called actually one morning when I was sitting on the beach in Poipu in Hawaii. And I saw that Lahan number and I go, oh, I know this is going to be an hour, but I better take it. And then he was very respectful. I told him where I was. He said, well, I'll make it fast. So it was only half an hour.
Well, there you go. Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Dustin. Much appreciated. Next item under new business is election of officers. And at this time, I'll open the nominations for elections of officers, and I'll turn this process over to Destin. Destin, I hope I'm not blindsiding you or taking you by surprise, but this is kind of the script I have. Are you prepared to carry forward?
I have it as well. And I think at this time, Michelle does this very well. She's done it for all of our commissions. So I'll let her actually go through it.
Wise delegation.
Okay, so I'd like to call for nominations for the position of chairman.
I would like to nominate Chairman, at present Chairman Walter Pachuki for that position to continue on.
Question there, Michelle. Under the City of Bishop or the protocol that you're familiar with, I know in the district we can do what Ron just did, but is it appropriate that a current officer retain any position? And I'll just throw that question out to you and the other board members. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable about that motion that Ron just made.
No, that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Anyone could be reelected.
That's fine.
Yes.
Just wanted to clarify that because I know the city has a certain sequence they go through and might be a little different.
Yes.
Okay, we'll continue on then, Michelle.
Okay, if there's no more further nominations, then I would like to take a roll call to close the nominations.
It requires a second.
So this is to close nominations. Chairman Pachuki,
If I remember,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Mahovey,
Yes.
Board Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Board Member Stone.
Yes,
Okay, now I'm going to take a roll call for the nominated person. Chairman Pachuki,
Abstain.
Vice Chairman Mahovey,
Yes.
Board Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Board Member Stone.
yes,
Okay, so Will Pachuki will remain as the chairman for another year. And now I'm going to open nominations for the vice chairman.
I nominate Stephen Mahovey.
I'll second that.
Okay, if there's no further nominations, then I'm going to take a roll call to close the nominations. Chairman Pachuki,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Mahovey,
Yes.
Board Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Board Member Stone.
Yes,
Okay, I'm now going to take a roll call for Stephen Mahovey to be vice chairman again for another year. Chairman Pachuki,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Mahovey,
I'll abstain.
Board Member Schwartz,
Yes.
Board Member Stone.
yes.
Okay, Stephen Mahovey will serve as vice chairman for another year. Thank you.
And personally, thank you for kind of your vote of confidence and continuing on as chair. But I can see right through the strategy. Board Member Schwartz and Stone, you wisely acted quickly and delegated these positions to someone else before someone could get your name on the list. Well done. No, truly, it's been a pleasure and an honor, and I welcome the opportunity to work with Destin on technical and administrative matters and support. And having Stephen support the effort has been great. So I look forward to continuing to serve for at least another year. So thank you. If there's no further business under item 6, we'll move on to staff and board reports. Destin, do you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, again, I was going to talk about the land acquisition process, but I was able to do that in the other item. The only other one would be a little update on CEQA process. I met Rose Banks of Department of Fish and Wildlife, California, and took the environmental constraints draft report with me and shared it with her, and actually took her on a little tour through the pasture at the sewer plant. You know, it's a bit overwhelming to everybody when they get down there because they've really never been in there, and they, you know, it's a wildlife refuge. But I wanted to remind her that it is that because of our water. If we did something different and decide we need to sell that water to a farmer because we can't go through with our project, that place would then turn into just like the south side of Cashbaugh Road, a sagebrush field. And so I think she got a good feeling and understanding of what we were trying to do. You know, it was a positive meeting. She says, you know, there's always mitigation and we'll be able to get through it. And, you know, just like JCast said, is all of those lines necessary, or can one or two be dropped out? I told her, absolutely. We're going to have to do what we have to do to make it happen. So she's actually going to meet, I think, this week with the other two folks in her office and go walk around out there and just, you know, and rather than hitting them cold turkey with a final environmental impact report and say, here you go, what do you think? And they would have a heart attack, I think, to put it nicely. So I'm working through that, and now I need to do that same process with Lahontan, because they'll be the other big agency that will have, you know, Jay is very concerned about nitrates reaching groundwater, but he also has a great concern about trees and stuff. So I need to walk him through this as well. Because when we're done, it'll be way better than it is now. Than trying to get him to see that light at the end of the tunnel is what I was hoping to do before they formally commented to everything. So it's moving along. It's going to be a slow process. Robert Edgerton of Helix, kind of advised me and agreed with this process we're doing, how we're going about it. And that's why he hasn't even started the cultural part yet, because he wanted to know how big of an impact, how much were we going to have to change things to do the project. And so there was no point if they were going to say, nope, you can't touch this area. No point in wasting our resources and funds on cultural in an area that we're not going to be able to work in. So I think it's prudent to do it the way we're doing it. It's a little different, but being open and upfront in the beginning, I think will pay dividends in the end for this project. And I mean, we won't get beat up so bad when we start construction. So that's really kind of the update. It'll be a long process, and we felt like this CEQA process would take until next spring, and it looks like that's where it's headed. But it'll coincide with all the timing of funding. The NRCS money has a 2-year window on it that we need to have something going by then. So it's all working out. It's not as fast maybe as we'd all like to see, but the big player, DWP, again, didn't want to start anything till they were through their lessee issues next spring too. So slowly keep moving the train forward.
Thank you, Destin. Just an aside, that was a huge breakthrough to have the NRCS system accept us in their computer.
Big chunk of change.
Yeah, it is.
So thanks for bird dogging that. Since we're still under staff reports, Steve Nixon, I'll switch to you. And is there anything from your perspective that you need to bring in?
No.
Okay.
Short and brief.
Yeah.
Jen, we'll switch over to you, and I'll ask if there's anything from your perspective we need to be aware of.
No.
Okay, the answer there is no. I just had a thought. With regard to, well, then we'll switch to board reports, but I'll have a question here. Destin, this is just for clarification as much as anything. At our last district board meeting, the question came up with regard to efforts on the, let's call it the diversion structure at the canal. And since you were kind of on vacation, my response was that you're moving forward. To the best of my knowledge, I wasn't aware of any final engineered or cost estimates. So can you tell us a little bit about where that process is at and how BAWA may play a role, or how the city and the district can coordinate on that?
Yeah, so I have, R.O. Anderson was the designer, the consultant on that project. I have probably a month and a half ago reached out to them. There needs to be, obviously revising the plans to shorten that project up. The diversion structure will remain the same as it was on the previous set of plans. He just sent a proposal to me to get, we have an ongoing contract with them, updated work order for completing plans, permitting, everything that goes, construction, staking. So I intend on having this out to bid by, I'm hoping, middle August, and go out to bid. Then we'll have some numbers. Well, we won't be able to start construction until probably November, but I want to get started early, get the contractors that need to get the permits they'll need to be in the canal. Get DWP is still on board to do the diversion of the canal. So yeah, it's moving forward. And the estimates, I'm not really asking them to put estimates back to, we already have a pretty good number for where we're at. It's impossible at this point because the pipe is starting to free up out there. Pipe is starting to be available, more readily available, so the prices will come down for that. Again, it's about a $500,000 project for this shortened version. And we made some repairs on the pipe about 3 weeks ago, just before I went on vacation. And we made more repairs on that trunk line crossing at the canal. And it just needs to be done as sooner than later. And it'll also, like I said, with the tribe, that diversion will allow the tribe to generate more flow to the district now, because we'll be able to take approximately 1/3 of your guys' flow through that diversion.
Okay.
So moving forward and hopefully fast.
Thank you. And just to repeat probably what has been offered in the past, if you need anything from the district, Destin, at any stage, whether it's support in the contractual process, review of any of the design, please let us know. And we're here to support your efforts and to participate in this project appropriately for whatever share we agree that the district should be responsible for. So we just want to assist in any way we can.
Thank you.
Other board members have reports or comments at this point?
I have nothing.
None for me.
I have nothing.
Well, that makes it clean and easy. If there is no further business to be brought before us at this point, I'd like to adjourn the meeting, the time being 8:38. And our next regularly scheduled meeting of the Bishop Area Wastewater Authority will be October 19th, 2021 at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we're shooting for Bishop City Chamber Council or Council Chambers. Ron, for your benefit to meet there the next time.
Thank you very much.
He said he was just going to wait over there.
Yeah, I'll have an early start.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Destin. Thank you for letting me in.
Everybody.